Hello, my lovers and leaders out there. Welcome to another time with me, Dr. Sarah B. I am your industrial organizational psychologist, life coach, and spiritual advisor and friend. So, in this session, I got a feedback from one of my videos. I think it was how to be chosen for a job. So, one of the questions was basically asking me some networking tips to get a job. All right, so let me start here. If you are currently an employee in an organization, right, and you want to even pivot to another functional area, department, in terms of networking, I listen, network is your net worth, okay? So in terms of networking, I would get granular. There's some people I'm sure you work with that are not in your current department, but you work with often. You may be curious about what they do. You may actually enjoy what they do because you know something about it. Right there is an opportunity to contact. Have a sit down with that person or do a Microsoft Teams call or a Zoom call and get to know what is it they're doing and just say, you're kind of interested, right? And if you end up being interested, of course, ask them, will they mind doing you a favor to pass along your resume? Or you may even have the email of that person's manager, and you can always just email your resume there and just say, hey, I work with so and so very frequently as part of my job. I really love what you're doing. I'm really interested to pivot right now in my career. Here's my resume. If something comes up in the future, please keep me in mind. Okay, that's one level to network within the organization that you work with. Okay, some organizations actually have resource groups. And when I say resource groups, I mean like these groups where people come together because they have something common. For example, there may be a women's resource group. There may be a veterans resource group that you're part of. Like you come together. They may have a book club. They may bring some guest speakers on, right? There may be, I'm familiar, I'm talking about the resource groups I know of in the organization that I was working for. There's also, you know, black, yeah, there's like a black resource group, black employees resource group, Latin employees resource group. And also there was a resource group for LGBTQ resource group, right? So if you have these resource groups, these are a mixed crowd of people from different parts of your organization, right? That is a wealth of potential networking there and a wealth of knowledge and social equity that you could start building, right? So take advantage of being part of those networking events that your organization actually has as well. Okay. I would also say too, like, listen, if you have access to the organizational structure of your organization and you see a particular area that you're interested in and you want to pivot in, you may want to talk to your current boss that you're doing this. All right, I'm gonna leave this for you to use discernment about this. But yeah, you may, in conversation with your boss, say, you know what, I'm interested in this area. I'm thinking to reach out to this person just to talk to them. Again, I'm gonna let you use discernment, but if you don't think that's necessary, just reach out to a particular manager, it could be, or even some HR personnel, right? HR, I'm sure your organization has a job board, but actually setting up a meeting with your HR personnel or various HR personnels, you could actually have meetings with that oversee various job posts. Sit down with them, ask them questions about the job, show that you're curious. Curiosity is a very valuable component in the human capital as yourself, okay? They need to see that you're curious. They need to see what kind of questions that you ask, because the questions that you ask really determine the value that they can see you bring into the team. And also, like questions about, you may ask about the team culture. You even asking about that and showing that you would be a good fit really opens up the eyes of the person that you're talking to. So I hope I've actually answered some questions about networking at least for a job within the organization that you are part of. Because before you leave the company, especially if the company is good to you, explore opportunities in that organizations. That organization may be a multinational company. You may need to move if they don't offer remote. Would you be willing to do that, right? Ask the question, see if it's possible, okay, before you actually leave. Now, if you are in a position of you don't have a job, for example, and you want to network for a job, well, let me tell you something. There was a time when I didn't have a job, I would volunteer a lot. And I still remember when I volunteered in this International Rescue Committee. It was a refugee nonprofit organization. From that, I got networked, okay, and connected with somebody that offered me an assistant manager role in another nonprofit organization, right? This was in downtown Baltimore. So, I mean, I didn't see that coming, right? But again, if you don't have a job right now, capitalize on the time that you have. Go and intern, okay, somewhere. Go and volunteer somewhere. You just never know what can come from that, all right? Always be in your A game because people are watching you. People can be referring you, like it happened to me. I had no idea that, they're watching me at that time in my 20s. I think it was my 20s this happened. Yeah. They were watching me. Somebody was just, you just never know who's going to talk about you or refer you. So always be on your A game, even when you volunteer or even when you're interning, okay? Now, I would also, if you do currently have a job and you want to pivot out of the company entirely, and you want to try and get a job, leveraging temporary agencies, which I love. Kelly Services, that's always been my go-to. Such a great organization as I was coming up in my career. Kelly Services is really great. Leverage that. If you actually get a temporary contractual job, again, be on your A game because you just never know if that will turn to a permanent position for yourself, okay? So also leverage that as well. Also, depending on what industry you want to go to, in your local community, for example, there are various organizations for business minded people, right? For example, go to those events, go to those functions. Why not, right? You just never know what can happen. Go to some charity events, all right? Again, be on your A game. These charity events, for example, they have professional people there, okay? With money, okay? So they're in business, they're in a nonprofit, but it doesn't matter. They're in the business of people. So you just never know who you can resonate with and, see what happens. I actually had a story of a colleague of mine. She went to a family friend barbecue, and I don't know, her and the other person just got talking, and my colleague said to her, "Oh yeah, I don't want to mention the degree she has, but she said, oh, she has this degree, for example, but she's been out of work for many years for a reason, right? And from that, the person that she was talking to, the family friend she was talking to, she was like, oh, her organization was looking for somebody that had that particular degree and experience. So again, family functions, friends functions, you're looking for a job, you just never know what conversation is going to come up, right? And your friend is your door. Your friend is your open door. You just never know. So again, be on your A game. You just never know how God is going to use people to bless you, okay? I also think uh, um, even close friends, outside of family friend functions, like close friends of yours that know who you are, right? And you know they have a job, they can also put a word in for you. Ask them how they feel about their current organization. Ask them, do they enjoy what they're doing? And again, use discernment to say that, listen, I'm looking for a job. Would you mind putting a word in for me in your particular area that you work, or maybe in a different area that there's a job opening? Hey, would you mind just kind of slipping in resumes? Because a lot of these organizations, they do have employee referral programs, by the way. Okay, so that's one thing. You can actually start with a conversation with a family member or a friend. Hey, does your organization have an employee referral program? And because I'm sure there'll be a benefit to that employee, to that family and friend as well, right? When you get hired. So, again, use discernment. I'm always very prayerful about things like this. So when you're having this conversation with these close people, like friends, for example, use discernment and see if that friend or family will be that open door for you as well. Okay. I also think that LinkedIn, I have mixed feelings about LinkedIn, to be really honest with you. But if there is a job that you are thinking to apply for or you applied for already, go into LinkedIn page, see if you can find people in that organization, right? To connect with. All right, simply to connect with and see if they can, and let them know you're interested in the job. You've just applied for this particular job. Can you tell me a little bit more about it? It's all about starting that conversation, all right, to see if that leads to anything, right? So, I also think that Glassdoor.com is another place too. There's various communities out there where there's people are chitty chatting, employees. Ask the question, hey, I'm looking for a job. Does your organization have an employee referral program, or does your organization is looking for new candidates? They may not give you their contact information, but at least they may at least copy and paste the link to the organization that they work in, right? And you go from there. So it's all about starting the conversation. Again, use of emotional intelligence, okay? But have in mind the fact that this is going to be a process to find a job. I'm very prayerful about finding a job because I don't want to waste my time, because I know I'm a human capital, all right? And the company is going to be, making some dividends of me, and I also want to be making some dividends, and you should as well. So make sure you use discernment as you're navigating this, this experience of finding a new job. And I really believe, okay, you stay in your A game, you stay strategic. I've given you some tips, okay? Use some of these tips. It will come eventually. And oftentimes I've experienced when you're not even looking for something, like when you've been like looking for a job and then you give yourself a break, it's almost like the atmosphere, the universe, is saying, okay, boom, okay, here it is, when you're not even looking. So it's okay to look for a while, then take a rest, see what comes your way, then start again. But I really hope you've taken note of some of these personal type ways that you can actually get some open doors to an organization. First of all, if you're currently an employee, navigate the networks that you have and the groups you have within your current organization. If you don't have a job, think about interning, think about volunteering, think about participating in various local events that are business driven, and even charity events as well. I think I said volunteering, interning, right? LinkedIn as well, okay? And of course, family and friends for an employee referral program. If you're tracking with this, if you got something from this, let me know in the comment section. I really would love to know. It encourages me to know what type of really valuable videos you guys want next. In the meantime, before you head out, give me a like, subscribe so you don't miss the next video, and I will see you very soon. God bless, and I really hope you get that new job. Let me know in the comment section when you do. Bye.